Okay, great. With this one slide, I basically Cindy and I kind of divided this up. We chose two forms of social media that we think are great in terms of integrating them into a learning environment. I chose YouTube, and Cindy chose. I'm sorry, she chose.
Skype.
Thank you. um, but because she's currently using that in her place of employment, so she has great examples. Unfortunately, in my work environment, we don't really integrate any of this. So, when it comes to YouTube, what I found was that YouTube itself has a section dedicated to education. So you can go to that channel and you can watch all different videos on how YouTube is being used in learning. Edutopia, for those who aren't familiar, is founded by George Lucas. He's huge on education reform as well as integrating the arts into education. So that video clip that I have a screenshot of is a tutorial on how exactly to use YouTube in the classroom. And the final example that I have is Khan Academy, which we learned about in our class so far. Various tutorials on different levels of mathematics and different subjects. So we can see that there are multiple ways that YouTube can be used either in the classroom or outside the classroom for students of all different ages and backgrounds. Slide. Okay, I'll let Cindy explain all the wonderful things that she's doing over there.
Thanks. Um, in my program at Cornell, we are the Institute for European Studies, and what we have implemented as part of a grant we were given by the European Union is that starting in January of 2011, we have an outreach coordinator who went into the South Seneca Middle School um, in collaboration with the New York Rural Schools Initiative to begin this program between the kids in South Seneca, which is a very economically depressed area, hit greatly by budgetary cutbacks, to begin corresponding via Skype with students in Poland and Slovakia, um, with the obvious goal of the kids here in a more isolated, rural New York, central New York area learning about these kids and vice versa. So what we did was we had instructors who were on the other side in Poland and Slovakia translate. We had instructors here within the South Seneca classrooms translating. And between video, email, wiki pages, and primarily Skype, the kids were able to learn about one another cultures. Um, it's a very creative semi-solution to the budget cutbacks that are affecting primarily the rural schools in central New York. These kids come from backgrounds that revolve greatly around agriculture, and this is sometimes the only exposure that they have to a world outside the one that they know. Next slide, please. These are some more pictures of the kids in South Seneca Skyping with the kids in Slovakia and Poland. They call it an e-twinning project. And again, it was funded with a grant from the European Union known as the Getting to Know the New Europe grants. It ran for 2 years, and we are trying to work with the European Union right now to get more funding to continue this project. I'm going to have to read off the slide real quick. One thing it did was the teachers within the classrooms at the end of the year on the state tests and otherwise found that the writing, comprehension, and the technological skills that these kids had were greatly improved. And the results from those tests have been presented at a number of teacher conferences in New York State. Next slide, please. Now this is something that is the obvious is not K through 12. It's a way that we are trying to continue the number of and the quality of languages at Cornell. About 2 years ago, Cornell went through a number of cutbacks during this so-called recession, and some very, very popular languages, including Dutch and Swedish, were cut. They were taken off the books, and they had been around for over 100 years. So that's pretty significant that these courses were no longer being offered. The lecturer in Dutch ended up getting a position at Yale University, and she was awarded the opportunity to work with Cornell and some of her previous students in what we call Dutch in the Digital Era, which is Cornell plus Yale using Skype and distance learning, initiated this pilot program. And based on this program, yeah, it's really cool. It's like so exciting. It's really silly because it's so difficult. Once a language is taken off the books, it's virtually impossible to get it put back on, and yet the cost of these courses are so minimal compared to what the money that these universities bring in. But again, it was a way to use emerging technologies to collaborate and connect and continue what really is a necessary language skills in this global community. It is essential, and it's completely necessary. So it started in the fall 2011. It's continuing this year for 2012 and 2013, and is on the books for 2000. So it's a success. And if we go to the next slide, please, you will see that based on this success, that Cornell and Yale have also implemented a course for modern Greek, which is not as a sought-after course, but the interest among Greek students is so strong that the students, if it was not for these students demanding that the universities continue these classes, this probably would not have happened. There were rallies on campus and the Art Squad protesting when these courses were cut, because so much of the research is STEM-based that it's like languages are getting lost. And between students who we know are on this cutting edge and creative, along with lecturers and professors who want to continue teaching this, it was not because of the administrative portion of these universities. So intermediate Greek was taught in the fall of 2012. It will be on the books for fall 2013. And Cornell has also collaborated with Columbia University for elementary Romanian, which is again on the books for fall 2013. And I believe there's also intermediate Romanian. I just looked at the course schedule 2 days ago, and I'm pretty sure I saw that on there. And also there's a site down here, I'm going to get out of my own way, education.skype.com, which is a community to help teachers connect their students to the world. And, I think that a necessity kind of breeds creativity. And when you have all these, especially these young kids coming up who study things I could have never have imagined, I think the possibilities are really endless. One thing I forgot to mention on this slide, and even to Vivian, was that I actually take free classes through Coursera.org, which is working with dozens of universities worldwide to provide free online classes. It's phenomenal, because I'm telling you, you can find a class in anything. I'm taking an archaeology class. That's it. I'm taking a photography class this summer I'm really excited about. And I took an intro for old Hollywood movie class. And it's so cool because it's very YouTube-ish. The professors will tape the lectures. They're posted. You get, quote-unquote quizzed. You get a certificate, and it's such a fabulous collaboration between the people who love teaching and the people who love learning. It's a solution. I mean, who would have imagined 5 or 10 years ago us doing this? So I'm excited about it. And it always looks good on your resume. So, I guess the next slide, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it's free. It's so cool because it's free. And and I think that's why we really emphasize YouTube and Skype, because it is a global classroom. Regardless of where you are or what you may have done in your life, education has the potential to reach everyone. And there's no reason that in this day and age anyone should not have the access or opportunity for education. And within, yeah, no walls, exactly. It's 10 years ago I went back to Empire State. I hadn't been in college since 1982, and it was going into class and it was coming home. And even though it was great, it was all adult learning based, so it was at night. With kids and with work, it was so difficult to really maintain that. And through these emerging technologies, we can do that now. We can sit here at home. My kids are, one is sleeping, two are playing, and do this. And I think it's a great example for our kids. And I can't wait to see what they bring to the table in this next generation.